Hey, what's up everyone? I'm ABB and today we're going to be diving into something that I've been geeking out for a while now. That is the Sui ecosystem, specifically the DeFi ecosystem. I've been playing around Sui for a while now and got some seriously cool stuff going on. Low fees, fast transactions, and a bunch of DeFi platforms, all with incentives and opportunities to make some moolah. So in this video, I thought we'd just kick things off with a really quick overview of the whole DeFi ecosystem. And in subsequent videos, we're going to start doing some deep dives on how to use these platforms and some specific strategies and opportunities. So buckle up because we're going to be moving at breakneck speed and I hope that you enjoy. Let's jump in. Okay, so we couldn't start the Sui DeFi ecosystem without starting with DeepBook. DeepBook has been all the rage. They had an airdrop recently. But what makes them unique is that they sit at the core of the Sui ecosystem by being a central order book baked right into the blockchain. They power a bunch of platforms that we'll be exploring, and we'll have to do a deep dive on DeepBook specifically to truly understand how the technology is able to power all these platforms. But we'll just say that it is a geek's dream. So the next category that we'll be exploring is AMMs. AMMs stand for Automated Market Maker. They enable you to trade without having an order book. So the price is determined by the assets in the pool, and you can create any pool with any assets. The first and largest exchange in this category is Cetus protocol. Even though these are AMMs, they have all started to include a bunch of extra features. So for instance, Cetus has the simple swap feature that also have limit orders, so you can determine at what price you want to trade, dollar cost average, so you can set up recurring trades, and you can trade on DeepBook directly. The common thing about all these AI platforms would be to go to the earn section, pools or farms, and get some yum APRs. So we can look at some of these pools. Sui USDC over 200% APY, including 200% in fees, which is actually insane. 17% in Sui rewards, and the list goes on. Some of these platforms also have the ability to stake their native token, such as Cetus, to get X Cetus, and currently that is paying 41%. So you can be an owner of the protocol and receive a part of the trading fees. The next one in this category is turbos. If you go to the pool section, you'll notice that each one of these protocols starts getting their own flavor. Oh, wow. Lombard BTC just launched in Sui, and it has some insane APYs. Holy Jesus. LBTC to RAP BTC, which is basically a stable pool, has 77% APY, including 41% in fees. This is insane. I'm going to have to stop this video, come at liquidity right now. And this is just an example of some of the opportunities that I look out for and why I spend so many hours navigating through all these platforms. Some of my favorites are the stable pools, USDT, USDC, 25%, that is a dream, and so on. I get the feeling that Turbos, at least a while ago, was more focused on meme coins, or perhaps most of the meme coins chose Turbos. But I could be wrong. That was just an impression I got a while ago. Monkey Sui, Chappy Sui, but now that I looked at those Bitcoin pairs, I may be reconsidering. The next one on the A category would be FlowX. I haven't used this one in a while, but what I would recommend would be to come to the boosted pool section to see what opportunities you can find, spend a bit of time doing your research and trying to understand how it is offering 21,000% APY on the Sui USDC pair. The last special mention on that category would be STEAMM. STEAMM is from the same team as Suilend, which is the same team as Suilend. So this is an experienced DeFi team coming from Solana, and I like that they're bringing some of the Solana degeneracy and experience to the Sui ecosystem. STEAMM is focusing on like maximum liquidity utilization and optimizing idle assets and whatnot. The next category is going to be aggregators. So with so many platforms and so many options, what I do is I only go to each individual platform if I'm looking for opportunities to make money. So, where to allocate capital to get higher yields and higher rewards. If I just want to perform a trade, I would go to an aggregator, because the way that they work is they get prices from all the DEXs and all the possible options, and they automatically route to the one with the best pricing. There's a few in this category. One is Aftermath. Aftermath does a lot more than just aggregation, and some of the AMMs now have aggregation by default. But yeah, Aftermath is good. Come check it out. They also have liquid staking and pools with farms. There's Kriya. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kriya is pretty good. They also have liquid staking with KSui. And it seems like they have an airdrop campaign at the moment. I haven't just Kriya much, but it's looking pretty well rounded. My favorite as far as yield aggregation goes is Hop.ag. For some reason, it feels very much like Juke from Solana, so it's a very common interface, and I just love the simplicity. It does one thing, and it does it really well. And let's just do an example here so I can show you how it looks. I've got 20 Sui in my wallet. If I were crazy and I wanted to sell them, it will give me the best price. And only if you're interested, only if you're a geek, you can click on the trade routing and it will show you. So 100% is going through DeepBook. This is a pretty deep pair, but some pairs is pretty cool because it splits them across a bunch of pools. Say if you want to, let's do something more exotic. Okay, let's say you want to get some LBTC because that's all the rage in Sui as of the time of this recording. Oh no, it's not there. So Hub is not giving me LBTC. Let's see if some other platforms do give me more BTC options. Okay, Aftermath is giving me the option to do Lombard BTC. Let's say I wanted to buy $1,000 of Lombard BTC. Insufficient funds, of course. If we scroll down, we can see all the possible routes. Aftermath has the best route. 7K, which is another aggregator, would be the same rate. FlowX minus 0.9%, Cetus minus 0.28%. So this is the importance of using yield aggregators, because if we just go to the most popular one like Cetus, we could be losing $2 or $3 on that exchange rate. So far, we've covered AMMs and aggregators. Now let's move on to lending protocols. I really like lending protocols because they are a great way to earn some moolah in a very low risk scenario. That is just by depositing assets and getting both incentives and the interest rates from people borrowing those assets. The more your risk tolerance increases, you can start doing things such as borrowing assets against your collateral. And there's a few cool strategies that come up because there's so many incentives in Sui right now. So the first one, which is also the most recent one, is Suilend. I mentioned that the team is coming from Solana, so they're on top of it. Here's just a quick glimpse on the deposit APRs and the borrow APRs. So if you hover over any of these, you'll see the incentives. So for instance, for something like Agora USD, it's 7%, only 0.07% is coming from the interest rate from people borrowing. However, you do get 7% in Sui rewards. I see it almost as a super conservative way. You have some USD, you maybe don't know which direction the market is going. So you deposit USD and you receive Sui, which is almost as if you were buying the Sui without actually departing from a USD. It's a pretty good time actually to be around. Lombard BGC, which just listed, has 10% rewards in Deep. Same time, you have some BTC, you don't want to sell it or maybe borrow against it to borrow a token like Deep, which may be more volatile. But simply by holding the BTC, you can get 10% in Deep, which is as if you were buying the Deep without actually selling the BTC. So there's a lot of things like that. Some of it starts getting a little bit crazy because the ones that are in parentheses means the lending rate is negative. So check this out. If you borrow wrapped BTC, the interest rate is 4.20. But the rewards that you receive in Deep, take into account different token, is 12%. So you're basically getting paid. The difference would be 7.8%. You're getting paid to borrow wrap BTC. And this is where things start getting interesting because there are two more lending protocols. To me, the most important thing would be the BTC that I borrowed has to go elsewhere where it can also generate yield. Like you don't want to be accruing debt in BTC, especially if the price goes up. So then we move on to the next lending market. This would be Navi. I really like Navi as well. Let's go to the market section. We've got the supply APR, the borrow APR, and here we see that we can, okay, at the moment, BTC has 0 supply APR, but up until recently, they had pretty generous Deep incentives as well. But something seems strange. I don't see any reworks just now, but there were some pretty good opportunities to basically borrow from one place and then deposit in the other one. The next one would be Scallop. Scallop is one of the OG lending protocols, Scallop and Navi. I traditionally have found this one a little bit hard to use, a little bit confusing. There's an overview section here and a reward. Then there's a lending pool and the escrow pool. Then there's a lending and a borrowing. Things to me seem to be split across a lot of things and just a little bit clunky. Historically, I get a little bit confused with this, and it's harder for me to see where I'm making money or where I claim my rewards or exactly what's going on. I think it's a great platform. I just don't fully get it. Okay, so far we've covered AMMs that have a lot of incentives for providing liquidity and lending protocols that also have incentives for depositing, withdrawing, or both. Now we're going to enter into the category of yield aggregators. These are platforms where you can either lend money once to this platform and then they deploy a strategy to maximize the amount of revenue that you can get from the other platforms, or you can have slightly more complex strategies like depositing and borrowing and looping, but these platforms manage it all. The first one in this category would be Strater. And if we look at an example, you input Sui, it's leverage staking, and then they use the protocol bucket to loop. And this is an estimated APY that it gives you. Some of these don't look that impressive, but for instance, look at this one. You deposit Sui, it is a leverage long, it is currently paying 169%. Ay. And it is using the platform Suilend. Let's click on the strategy to see specifically how do they do it. Consider an initial position of 10 Sui aiming at 2x leverage. So you deposit the 10 Sui, they do a flash loan by a bucket. Then they deposit 20 Sui. Oh, wow. Deposit 20 Sui and borrow 10 in the form of USDC by a Suilend. Swaps a USDC for Sui in the aftermath router to repay the flash loan. This is actually more degenerate than I thought, but whatever it is, you get those APYs. The next yield aggregator that I like that I've been using recently, it's Mol.fi. And the reason why I like them is because it has some decent APYs for single site lending. So basically you just deposit stable coins. So 23% on Buck, 22% on USDC, 16% on wrapped USDC. If you compare to the real world, anything above 5 or 7% is great. If you go to crypto, anything above 12% is great. Another example of stacking would be go to Suilend, maybe borrow USDT for 2%. The real interest rate is 9, but then you get 7% in Sui. So the effective interest rate would be 2, maybe 4% for USDC after rewards. And then you take that stable coin and you deposit it on something like Mol. So you've got a very big gap. You can basically earn close to 20% on borrowed money. So that's another strategy that I really like. If you hover all over it, we see that, for instance, per buck, 14% is from the actual interest rates that people that are borrowing pay, and 7% would be from the staking APY. So this platform currently have some Sui incentives. So you'd have to deposit the dollar and then go to the stake section and also stake here, claim the Sui directly from here. See, I've got some Sui left over here to claim. And if you wanted to use Mol to farm, you can get some pretty chunky APYs. So for instance, a USDC and the buck pool on Cetus is offering 71%. The way that this works is I am basically lending you the stablecoin to then deposit them in the pool, and the rewards from the pool get sold back into stablecoin. There's some leveraged pooling here. Then the next one along these lines, they all start to look similar with slight differences, would be Alpha. AlphaFi has an integration with Bluefin. So if you add liquidity there, they can auto compound it here. They also have a liquid staking token, STSui, and they're kind of saucy, like kind of spicy, like hinting at $1.5 million reduce in airdrop reserves, which in theory is money that is going to be dashed out at the community at some point, perhaps. So that may make it interesting for some of you. Staked Sui with USDC, kind of cool too. Jesus Christ, staked Sui and fuck, look at this, 1,000%. How is this possible? So Bluefin, 142%, Alpha Mining, 100%. Well. Someone's gonna come deposit assets as soon as I finish recording. Next one up is Kai Finance, very similar leverage trading you can do. Let's look at some of their LP vaults. Yeah, pretty high percentage APYs. Next one up would be Sui Pearl. Very similar to the previous platforms. So the next category is leverage trading. If you've seen everything that we've done so far, if that is still not enough, and you feel like you want to go for it and gamble your children's school fees and hopefully making enough to pay for that mortgage, you can do some leverage trading. I have an uncanny ability to weigh markets and make them go in the exact opposite direction of the trade that I open, regardless of the size. I was uniquely able to lose money shorting Trump at $70. I was uniquely able to lose money longing Bitcoin at 16K. So this is just for information purposes. Yeah. The leverage trading front, we've got Bluefin. Bluefin is amazing and they've got a range of things. Technically, they have swaps as well, although the Bluefin swaps get routed through the yield aggregators. So I've never really done swaps directly on Bluefin. I have done some perp trading here and they've got a pretty healthy range of pairs. And I see that they've kept adding. So you can come and trade Trump. You can come and trade some of the most popular EVM protocols, Celestia, Abax, Say, and of course, BTC, ETH, and Sui. And that they've got standard pull like we've seen on the other AMMs. And some of these are auto-compounded using AlphaFi behind the scenes. So it's a nice interface to get some pretty chunky APYs. Especially, I think that the area of opportunity with something like Bluefin right now is that they had their token launch recently. They had an airdrop. And right now, they've got a shit ton of rewards that are going out to the community. Remember, if you're from the Ethereum OGs or maybe Solana, any protocol that is new, if you look at the distribution of the tokens, the section allocated to community, it goes out the window like much faster in much chunkier terms early on. And that would be a good way to be risk averse, just deposit some assets and earn as much of those tokens in a passive way. The next leverage lending protocol is Sudo Finance. What is different about Sudo is that instead of depositing USDC into the vault and being basically the counterparty to traders and Bluefin, I think that's how it works. In Sudo, there is the Sudo liquidity provider pool. And so you can mint the SLP by depositing any of these assets. And you would still be the counterparty to the people trading. And historically, people trading are terrible. Very few people make money long-term trading leverage. So we can see that the SLP 7-day APY is 215%. That's crazy. 7-day APY is calculated from 75% of open and close fees, plus all the pool fees and funding fees generated in the past week, annualized into a pool profit in a year, and then divided by the net deposit asset value. Cumulative APY, 85%. Real-time APY, 267%. So this is a pretty crazy numbers. It has been clear to me for a while now that the way to make money with leverage trading platforms is to be on the liquidity providing side. Let people go crazy trading, losing all the money, and then we get some of those fees. This is still a very nascent platform. It's very young. It only has just over $500,000 in here. So if you want to go really deep with a lot of leverage, you've got some insider trading, probably not the best place to go. But I like it because it's a technical innovation and I just like playing with a bunch of new platforms. Okay, friends, I know that's a lot, and we didn't even get to cover Sui liquid staking tokens. We'll have to leave that for a different video, but I really want to hear from you. Which of these platforms did you find interesting? Which ones would you like to learn more? Was there anything that was confusing or not clear? Let me know in the section down below. I'll be making a lot more videos about Sui DeFi and some opportunities out there, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching all of this, and I'll see you in the next one. Haha.